If you have watched every anime you see on screen right now, then this video is for you. I'm Unseen Whispers, and this is 5 fantasy anime that you haven't watched. Possibly. Just leave a comment down below for what waifu you think this is. Number 1. Blade and Soul. The Clan of the Sword is a group of legendary assassins who have been known to change the course of history. Our protagonist Aoka was trained by the Clan of Sword, which has turned her into a cold-blooded and ruthless killer. Now, Aoka is currently seeking revenge due to her master being murdered by the Palem Empire. This anime begins with Aoka meeting a group of merchants who wind up hiring her to protect their village. She tries her best to defend the village, but it turns out that the Palem Empire is willing to do whatever it takes to put Aoka 6 feet underground. Blade and Soul follows Aoka on her perilous journey to track down the woman who killed her master. I've had my eye on this anime for a while now, due to the character design. And no, not because of that. I honestly think Blade and Soul just has some of the most beautiful characters that I've seen for a while. However, there's a problem, which is the fact that Blade and Soul is a complete and utter snooze fest anytime there's not a fight happening on screen, which means you're going to be bored roughly 80% of the time. The reason for this is very simple. Aoka, you know, the main freaking character, has less personality than a rock I just found outside. I honestly think that the writers were just hoping the ample character designs would be enough to hard carry the story, and in my opinion, they are not. So Blade and Soul is definitely not the best anime, but hey, at least the art is good to look at. By the way, if you find something new to watch in this video, be sure to like and subscribe, it's much appreciated. Number 2. Katana Maidens. Aratama is a species of monster that's only purpose is to kill and destroy. In response to these creatures, humanity trained young females into warriors known as Shrine Maidens, whose job it is to eradicate the Aratama. Now, because this is anime, the young warriors must attend one of 5 special schools to become Shrine Maidens. Then once again, because this is anime, these 5 schools compete against each other once a year to determine which Shrine Maiden is the strongest. Katana Maidens begins right as Kanami is selected at Minoseki Academy to be one of the 2 school representatives for this tournament. Kanami wins all of her matches and finds herself in the finals, squaring off against Hiyori. Okay, look, I'm about to reveal the big twist of episode 1, so this is your chance to skip ahead if you don't want to hear it. Okay, Kanami is ready for the final match to begin, but just before it does, Hiyori suddenly turns and attacks the head Shrine Maiden in what seems to be an act of treason. Her attack didn't land, but luckily for her, Kanami unexpectedly comes to her rescue, allowing them both to escape. This anime follows Kanami as she ultimately winds up joining Hiyori on her adventure to take down the leader of the Shrine Maidens. I'm always honest with you guys, so allow me to start off by saying that episode 1 of Katana Maidens is a complete and utter train wreck. The pacing is way too fast and will make you feel like you missed part of the story. However, the pacing issues are almost non-existent after episode 1, so if you can just power through that first episode, you will find a solid and entertaining story on the other side. Number 3. The Book of Babela. Have you ever wondered what happens after you die? Some people believe you go to heaven or hell, while others believe you reincarnate, and then there's those who simply believe you cease to exist. This anime didn't like any of those choices, so it came up with an alternative. When humans die in this anime, their soul slowly breaks down and fossilizes into a stone tablet known as a book. Some of these books can even be unbelievably valuable, as each book contains the memories of their former human. In order to maintain, archive, and protect this vast amount of knowledge, humanity built the Babela Library, which is meant to house all the books of the world. This anime follows the armed librarians of Babela Library as they use their psychic powers to battle against their arch-enemy, the Shindeki Church. Chances are I enticed you to click on this video by putting this girl on the thumbnail, but don't be fooled. There is much more to this story than the questionable outfits. I would actually argue the Book of Babela starts off on the darker side of storytelling, as one of the first things we see is people being brainwashed and used as human bombs. Now, other than the total babes and the darker plot, this anime also has some really cool powers, which makes for some really interesting fight scenes. Overall, the Book of Bantora can be a bit confusing, as there is 30 plus characters and multiple subplots, but I, for one, found it to be very entertaining. Number 4. Copcraft. Fantasy began to mix with reality due to an interdimensional gate opening up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which links Earth to a fantasy world. This caused a massive influx of fantasy creatures, such as fairies, elves, and demons, to come pouring into the city of San Teresa. Anytime there is a massive increase in population, you can almost guarantee there will be an equal increase in criminal activity. Kei Matoba is a detective in San Teresa whose partner was just killed in the line of duty while working on a fairy trafficking case. Kei plans to pursue the case on his own, but he comes to find out that a noble from the fantasy world named Talarna Expedilica is going to be his temporary partner. Due to Kei's prejudice and Talarna's ignorance, they butt heads frequently and struggle to see eye to eye on just about anything. After finding the fairy and closing out the case, Kei and Talarna end their partnership as she needs to return home to the fantasy world. They go their separate ways, and Kei heads home to spend the evening with his cat. But upon arrival, he realizes he has an unexpected guest. For whatever reason, Talarna has decided that she wishes to stay here on Earth a little while longer, and she has been hired on as Kei's official partner. Copcraft follows this unexpected duo as they solve numerous different criminal cases, all the while Talarna learns about human society. This anime had so much potential. The premise is super cool, but something about this anime just feels off. I'm not sure if it was the slow pacing or constant use of long still imagery, but personally, Copcraft just wasn't able to hold my interest. Number 5. Grimm's Notes, the animation. In this strange and unique fantasy world, every person is born with a book of fate which has their entire life written out ahead of time. The interesting part is that the people in this world are grouped into communities where they live the lives of some of your favorite fairy tale characters, such as Red Riding Hood or Cinderella. Everyone follows their book to a T, that is until a chaos teller gets involved. These chaos tellers play off of people's negative emotions, causing them to diverge from their book of fate, turning them into dangerous monsters known as villains. Grimm's Notes, the animation, follows a group of people whose books of fate are completely blank. They spend their days going around to the many different stories, fighting against the villains and fixing the discrepancies caused by the chaos tellers. Not going to lie, I was having a total blast while watching this anime. There's just something about seeing these fairy tales get turned into an anime, then tweaked ever so slightly, that gave off a lighthearted and charming feel. If you just want an anime that you can zone out to and completely relax while watching, then Grimm's Notes the animation might be perfect for you. So, were you able to guess what waifu this is? It's Toru from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. As always, thank you to Really Did Nothing Wrong for supporting me on Patreon. If you need more anime recommendations, then be sure to click the video you see on screen now. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope to see you next time.